so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And I'm just gonna get right into what I've been doing this summer. So the title of my project is Land Access and Farming, Collective Models of Land Ownership. And it's through the Community-Based Research Hub, as Dr. Crone said. And the way community-based research works is that a problem in the community is presented to the Community Impact Hub, and student researchers can help a community member, in this case Stephanie Fowler, with that problem. So what exactly is the problem? I'm going to explain this in 3 parts that are kind of like an equation. So here we have the first part. So this is census information from the USDA. It shows the age of American farmers from 2017 to 2022. And those decimal numbers are in the millions. Basically, the biggest thing to glean from this is that a lot of American farmers are above the age of 65. And the rest of them are in the age range of 35 to 64. Another thing to look at whenever looking at all of these numbers is that the age bracket of 65 plus is growing, and it grew from 2017 to 2022 by 12.1%. So it seems like people from that middle age bracket of 35 to 64 are entering the 65 plus range. And then if you can see the numbers that represent the farmers under the age of 35, they're growing slightly, but in no way are they coming up to replace the retiring farmers. This is the second part of the problem. This is also from the USDA. It shows the average real estate value of farmland in the United States. So it starts at 2010 at around 2000, and then you can see it gradually grow in the past about 15 years to about double now. So land overall is getting more expensive, especially farmland. It's harder for, people to buy farmland these days. So whenever you add those 2 things together, farmers reaching retiring age and then younger farmers not entering the field to replace them, and then land becoming more expensive, you get this big number, which is 11 million farms lost to development. Now, what exactly does lost to development mean? Sorry, should have gotten close to the mic. What exactly does lost to development mean? It essentially means that a farmer or somebody who owned farmland sold their land to urban or industrial development. That can be, in this case, I chose a Walmart or a parking lot or a factory or solar development. And the thing about that is that whenever farmland is changed in that way, it's incredibly difficult to get it back to a place where it can be farmed again. So that's where the wording lost comes from. It's expensive, it takes a long period of time. That farmland basically can't be farmland unless a lot of time, money, and energy is placed into reinvesting that land into farmland. So that is because, the things that I talked about before, farmers reaching retiring age, and then younger farmers not coming to pick it back up, and even those younger farmers struggling with how expensive land prices are, we're losing a lot of farmland in America. I mean, 11 million farms, which is, crazy to think about. Why exactly does this matter? I mean, as long as we have food, it doesn't matter if we have farmland in America. This is a really amazing quote that sums up the why of this issue from one of the people I interviewed during my research. Food security is national security. I believe, or it's generally believed, if we have more diverse avenues where we get our food, whenever there are major disruptions in the global food system, for instance with COVID or the Russia-Ukraine war that affects us, if we have more diverse places to get our food, some shorter chains of supply, more local producers in our area, we are less susceptible to incredibly disruptive changes in where we get our food. And hopefully that'll lead to less chaos, less destruction, less hunger. So what have I been doing? I have been working with Stephanie Fowler and Dr. Adrienne Crone, getting information about what the programs that work with land in Crawford County what they've been doing, what they think about this issue. I've also have been talking to local farmers about, what are they what do they think their options are? How much do they know? What their plans are, and what they think about, the issue of farmland disappearing in America. It was also at this point in the presentation where I realized I didn't take any pictures of me doing the work on the farms. I just took pictures of the cute animals I saw on the farms. So that's all you get. That's all you get as proof that I've been doing my work, but they're cute, so it's fine. I'm going to go directly into what I've learned from my research and from talking to people and different stakeholders that are related to this issue. I've learned that there are several ways to protect, transition, and own land. So for this first model I'm going to talk about, it is farmland preservation. It is a governmental program that is focused on protecting agriculture from development, basically keeping farmland farmland. And the way they do this is through easements. Work with me a little bit here because even researching this, whenever I first heard of easements, it took me a long time to understand what they were and what they meant. An easement is basically a contract on a piece of land. And it is a voluntary agreement between an organization and the landowner to either limit or require certain things to happen on that piece of land. So the example I have up here is a sewer line easement. So basically the sewer line is like, hey, we need to put this easement on your piece of land, and you're not allowed to grow trees or build any buildings on this strip of land. So essentially, an easement is basically a contract on that land. And there are other terms for easements. It's basically like the right to a land, but for this case, I'm just talking about it requiring or not allowing certain things to happen on a piece of land. And the way that can protect agriculture is that these programs and this preservation program can put an agricultural easement on a piece of land, basically putting it under contract, under law, requiring for that land to only be used for agriculture. So it doesn't matter who owns the land. If that easement is put on that piece of land, it is, in theory, for as long as the program lasts, in perpetuity. So let's say owner number one agrees to have this easement on his land, and then he sells it. Owner number two can't build a Walmart on it because that easement is still there. And that keeps the land, from being developed. Like legally, there is a contract on it that people can't, put a Walmart or a parking lot or any other piece of development on it. It is a contract that that land needs to stay in agriculture. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about land trusts. We have a few land trusts in the area that people might know of. These are different from the Farmland Preservation Program because they are nonprofits, they're non-governmental. Most of their funding comes from private donors. And they work similarly, where they can outright own land to protect it, and they can own that land for as long as the nonprofit or the land trust exists. And when they own that land, they steward it and protect it, and whenever it's under them, it doesn't get developed, so they just keep and buy or their donated land. But they can also work in easements and put contracts onto land. The only difference is that with most of the land trusts I talk to, most of the easements are donated and they don't actually buy it. So the main difference between non-governmental land trusts and the Farmland Preservation Program, also land trusts can also be focused on other things like forest restoration and stream restoration and just generally conservation. But they work somewhat similarly in easements and owning land and protecting land. I kind of put these two models together because they're the easiest to grasp, because I feel like most people have some kind of experience with owning or leasing or just those general real estate terms. So owning land together is an option for protecting and transitioning land, especially for beginner farmers, because you can choose to, as a group, create an LLC, and if you find a plot of land that is pretty expensive, if you you have a group of 5 people who want to farm that land equally, you can split up that land and make it more accessible to you as a beginner farmer. And then leasing that land, I actually have Lundell Farms that, example up there, they buy up agricultural land that is at risk for development, and then they They lease that land at a decent price to younger and beginner farmers so they can get experiences and they can, steward that land, and that can lead them as an easy transitional path into agriculture, into owning their own land. Also with leasing, farmers in America get tax credit for leasing their land to younger and beginner farmers. So that's another way to easily, keep their land in agriculture, keep farmers on their land, and to transition those beginner farmers into the agricultural world. All right, so that was basically what I found out in my research of what the options are to address this problem. So what are the problems with these solutions, basically? These are some quotes from interviews where I've talked to, different stakeholders and different local landowners. This first one is in relation to how many farmers and landowners are aware of the farmland programs in Crawford County. And this says 10% understand completely, 40% have heard of it and don't understand, and 50% have no idea. So this quote just shows that there is a lack of, there's a lack of knowledge about options for American farmers of what to do with their land. I mean, whenever a large check is presented to them by a development company, they're not aware of any other options they have to, if they want to keep their land in agriculture, maybe they don't think they realistically can. And we can't really help the farmers of Crawford County if they don't know their options and don't know what we're talking about when we're talking about land preservation. This next one is from a local farmer who's currently in the process of protecting his farmland. Every time I meet with someone about farmland preservation, there seems to be a slightly different story with everyone. There are all these things that they don't know, that you don't know about, that they don't tell you. So this is another example of a sort of a lack of education and information that is accessible to the landowners and farmers of northwestern PA. This also shows that the process itself is confusing. The laws with it change a lot. It takes a very long period of time with farmland preservation. All the companies, well, not companies, the organizations that I talk to, it is a long process, and usually it involves a lawyer, and these farmers need help navigating the process, and they don't really have anybody to help them. So once they learn about the options that they have and they try to, partake in these solutions, it's a confusing process, and they don't know how to navigate it. This last quote is from a French Creek Valley Conservancy official, which is a local land trust, and this is again on local knowledge of land trusts and easements on land. There's a lot of confusion and a lot of misunderstandings because of past projects in the area that have created ill will. So this shows that there not only is confusion and a lack of access to information, there's also misinformation about land protection and land preservation. Farmers and landowners are worried that people are going to come on their land and take it from them, or police what they do and don't do. They don't know that it's a voluntary process. They don't see any benefit, and they just worry about people coming onto their land and, messing with it or taking it from them. So my recommendations to address some of these problems is continued work on outreach. The organizations that I talk to all know that communication and outreach is a big problem, and I just recommend to completely, focus on that and try and bolster their outreach and their marketing and their communication, and just really focus on it and invest in it, because that's something that constantly came up whenever I was interviewing people and discussing with them and what their opinions were and how much they knew about their options. That also connects to education. A lot of the farmers that I talk to, as I showed you, a lot of them are older, so they, as a Gen Zer, I think the internet, I first go to the internet when it comes to communication, but we have to consider other routes to communicate with these people, because that's not something they're used to. A lot of these farmers just have flip phones and they never use email and they never go on the internet. So even sending brochures to farmers' houses, putting up posters in township buildings or supply stores, just going back to pen and paper, just reaching these farmers any way that you can, and letting them know about, to think about transitioning their farm and to let them know about the options that they have. Also building relationships, because if somebody comes onto your land and they propose this, oh, your land is going to be protected forever and it'll be great, it'll be everything, you may not immediately trust them. So building a relationship between not only farmer to farmer, even an older farmer giving land to younger farmers, but from farmers to the organizations that can help them. Make them more comfortable to go to those organizations and ask about the option that they have. Through those organizations, maybe just like somehow make yourself like less, you know, this like big official thing coming onto this older farmer's, you know, farm and saying like, oh, I know all these things and you don't know all these things, and just build those friendships and relationships between farmer to farmer, organization to farmer, and then farmer to organization. So if somebody were to ask me what I would tell to, if this project were to continue with Stephanie and Adrian, if somebody were to tell me what to tell the next student researcher for next summer, I would say to reach more farmers, no matter what. I have been working on this project for around 2 months, and I've only spoken to and got the opinions of a drop in the ocean of the farmers of Northwestern PA. So just do anything you can to reach more farmers, post, you know, advertisements that farmers can come to, go to, you know, meetings that you would expect farmers to be at, go to co-op meetings, or even go safely, go door to door, and just reach people any way you can. Also develop survey tools. All of the interviews that I conducted in this research were incredibly helpful and insightful, but I feel like they could be supplemented with simple survey tools just to get an idea of what farmers know and what they think they want to do. And then for the last one, help local land trusts and farmland preservation with outreach. You know, I said that communication and outreach was one of the biggest problems because farmers don't know their options and don't know what to do. So be a personal marketing manager for some of these organizations. You know, reach out to farmers yourself, help them design brochures. You know, call people and be like, hey, I'm from the farmland preservation place and I want to talk to you about farmland transition. And just do anything you can to be like a marketing manager for these programs. And yeah, I mean, this project is still a work in progress, so I can't really give the solutions for everything, and this is just what I've seen. But I really think that Crawford County and the landowners and farmers of Crawford County deserve to know their options and for their land to be protected. And I think we all would benefit from having local farms around and getting our food from somewhere close. And you know, farmland's beautiful. And do we want to see Walmarts everywhere? I don't think so. I would like to thank Dr. Adrian Crone, Stephanie Thawer, Allegheny College, of course, the Community-Based Research Hub, Office of Undergraduate Research, Scholarship and Creative Activities, ERSCA, the Foundation for Sustainable Forests, the Crawford County Conservation District, the French Creek Valley Conservancy, and of course my interviewees. Super insightful. I'm so happy you guys let me talk to you. And I would like to thank all of you guys for listening to me today and coming today. So thank you very much.